Hello, everybody. Good old BMR here, broadcasting live from southern Michigan, sweltering 97 degrees already. Also broadcasting all around the globe. That's right, we are global. Picking up people in Europe, Sweden, Australia. Very cool. Thanks for coming on in. Of course, I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Monica Rollins from Our Paranormal World. Please subscribe to Monica on YouTube, Our Paranormal World. Subscribe to bigfootmichiganrob if you're new, of course. Texas Front Porch, The Blondie and the Booze, Donnie Cho Says Stuff, Paranormal Paul, Truth or Tinfoil. Yes, indeed. Please subscribe. I posted the link for our conference coming up September 19th and 20th in Richmond, Missouri. It's going to be one hell of a show. 20 people, featured guests, special guests, speakers, all that stuff. A pre-party on Thursday. You know, we got a haunted house, haunted cars, you know, the ghost hunt. So it's really going to be a quite a different conference. And I thank everybody that's already bought tickets. While I'm on the subject of thanking people, I want to thank the people out there that bought my books found on YouTube. Not YouTube, Amazon. Please type Bigfoot Michiganrob in your Amazon browser. Bigfoot Michiganrob presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. Leave a review for those that have bought it. It's like analytics, like YouTube. You leave a review, it does prompt book sales, much like leaving a like and leaving a comment on the shows. Please do that. Of course, as y'all know, the super chats are open, a great way to help support what we do around here. You too, everybody, can become a BMR Pirate R, mateys. Join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. So thank you in advance for that. And thanks to everybody for coming on in. Hit that like button. And without further ado, I'm going to bring up Monica. Hi, Monica. How are you?
I am good.
That's good to hear. I'm pretty good. You know,
are you pretty good?
I'm just pretty good, Rob. I'm pretty good. You know, despite all the things that go on around here, it's like Grand Central Station. I might be getting a text for somebody to let in to do some other work. I've always got something going on. It seems like we're talking backstage. And things that should have been done, and they have to refix things, which is so annoying.
Yes.
And you know, but it's life. It keeps us, you know, it keeps us busy and occupied, I guess.
That's true.
My eyes, says Randy, when am I too bright? I'm trying to work with this lighting too. Now is my face glowing or something? I think it looks pretty good. I don't know.
I mean, you're definitely illuminated.
Oh, well, thanks for that. Yeah, great.
You're luminous.
I'm luminous today. Yeah, it's just light. I got to figure it out. I've had it for over a year now, and I still haven't quite figured it out. Go figure.
Does it have different tints on it?
It's got different tints, and it's on the lowest dim. And there's a big room that I'm in a section of the house, and sometimes I have it 50 feet away, 20 feet, 10 feet. This right is about 6 feet. But I think it looks fine, you know.
It looks fine. I have mine tinted to the warm color, like a 2500 Kelvin.
Yeah, mine's right around there. It's got a little yellow tinge to it, and it's pointed down a little bit.
Mine's tilted like this. But I'm in a room with windows on two sides, like 3 windows on each side. So I got a lot of light coming in.
Gotcha. So that's perfect. I am even talking about light. It's so bright outside. You know, I'm not one to complain about the weather, but it's already 97. It's almost like Texas weather. 97 right now. It's gonna be 97 for a couple days, and then the weekend we're gonna go over 100, and that's not including the heat index.
It's gonna be like 104 where I'm going this weekend. It's gonna be like way over 100, I believe.
Well, you'll be by the water.
Yeah, I'll be in the Frio River, and it's called the Cold River for a reason. So hopefully
you might
find a nice balance there.
And maybe there'll be a nice breeze blowing off. I mean, you don't know.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Because when it's 100 degrees out, you want that cool breeze.
You do. And I don't know, because I've never been to that part of Texas. I don't know what the humidity is like out there, if there's even humidity. I can deal with like Las Vegas heat. Can deal with that. It's when you start factoring humidity into that over 100-degree temperature that it's just sucks the energy right out of you.
Oh, it does. And I will tell you this, that with every time the temperature approaches in the mid 90s and above, we always get thunderstorms, and they'll last maybe 10 or 12 minutes, and they'll come down like, cats and dogs, and then the sun will bust out, and then it really cranks up the heat and that humidity where you're just sweating sitting in the shade. And I'm not the type of guy to sit in the house during the summer, because I sit in the house in Michigan anyways in the wintertime much too long, so that's the way it goes. And I know you're working as we speak too.
We are. Sorry, I'm trying to,
but that's okay. I got enough information today where we can you can maybe in the meantime do what you need to do. But and one other thing I want to talk about, and I will tell you, Monica, I've been an avid gardener for a decade. This is the first year that my garden, I'm ready just to pull everything out. I did not redo my ground, my soil, which might have been a problem, because what I have in my soil is clay, and I got a bed that's maybe 6 inches deep before you hit clay. I'm thinking that I'm just going to spend a ton of money and just make it a bed about a foot high, and let it kind of seep into the ground. Maybe I'll do it in early spring.
Right.
Because I'm not going to dig all that out either.
Till it. Rent a tiller, throw some fertilizer on the ground and till it in.
Chop it all up really nice and fine.
Till it into the soil. Mix it in there. And then when you plant are you mulching?
No, I don't. I don't use like the typical colored mulch. Thank you, Mark.
You don't have to. I mean, it could be.
What I buy soil. I buy soil without weed spores, which that's just a marketing ploy. Right. And I also use a lot of that Miracle Grow. So I mix that all together, and I build up a big mound, spread it out, and let it seek into the ground.
Stop using Miracle Grow. They're so much better. They're so much better.
Is it? Well, let me know, because that's what I've been using.
I'll send you what I use. Yeah, it's awesome.
Send me all that. Just send me all that.
Or make a raised bed, Rob.
Yeah, in the ground.
Raise it up. They don't have to be giant. I mean, it can just be, 10 inches off the ground. It gives you the additional, so you have 16 inches of soil.
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking about that. Yes, I might just do that and just load it all up, make a nice little mound, spread out, then plant my stuff, and maybe pack it down with my feet, or get one of those rollers or whatever. Yes, Margaret, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Thanks for the super chat. I just found that out earlier, just like I found out about Ozzy the other day, passed on.
That's sad. I was shocked about Ozzy.
I was, and I did see a clip of his last concert where he was sitting in the chair and couldn't stand.
Yeah.
But then he died maybe the next day or two later.
It was like 2 days, or no, it was like a week and a half later. It's been more than 2 days. But
okay, yeah. So I was out of the loop with that. And Krista told me Tuesday night, and I was like, holy cow, I didn't know that. She goes, where you been?
Where you been, Robbie?
I said, yeah, Robbie. I wasn't on social media at all on Tuesday, only to send my link to our guest, which was a good show. Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters joined me and Krista Tuesday. It was a cool show. So yeah, so I'm ready. I'm really disappointed this year. No really good garden. I've got my plants aren't even growing. They're just like this, and I keep wasting my time staring at them.
Mine, I don't know. I didn't put as much effort in this year as I had in previous years.
Yeah, well, again, I skipped some steps this year, and I will tell you this: I planted everything maybe a week too early. I normally do it last week of May, but I did it for whatever reason a week early. And I was reading, it never froze, but we had like 3 or 4 nights, 38 to 42 degrees at night. I know it's not enough to kill the plants, but I was doing some reading, it will stunt the growth, though, in some
Yeah,
instances.
it will. And some plants just aren't going to tolerate that.
No, and it's mostly my peppers, jalapenos, and they're not coming in.
Yeah.
I replanted cucumbers. I might get cucumbers. I replanted them like 20 times. And my tomatoes I put in pots, which are flourishing, but they can only flourish so long in a pot. And now the flowers are just flowering.
We
I got
should have
8
a garden show, Rob.
Huh?
We should have a garden
But
show.
you know what? We should. That'd be a lot of fun. I mean, it seems like I always talk about it.
I know, right?
Or a food show. Combine
Food
a
and
food
garden.
garden. Yeah. I bet she'd be a hit. People seem to like that, you know.
I bet it would be. That's another one we can do.
Yeah. Or maybe do a cooking channel while I'm cooking food up in the background, telling a story or something. So many ideas.
I thought about doing that because I cook every day, every night.
Yeah.
And I thought about doing, while I'm prepping and cooking, telling a story while I'm doing that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. My sister-in-law, Karen, she's a pretty good cook in her own right and very talkative, and she'd be very, people like her. I'd say you should do that because she never stops and she is entertaining. And but yeah, Monica, we should do a gardening show. We should start a brand new channel, and just see how it goes. That'd be kind of cool. Of course, we have to find time since we're on like almost all the time on YouTube. Right.
I get kind of. I mean, you know what we could do? We could do the garden show on my show every other week. We'll do my show one week, and we'll do a garden show the next week.
Well, maybe it's something, food for thought moving forward. Yeah, I'm all down with that.
Yeah, I'm down for it too. We can do it.
Cool. Let's get the wheels spinning on that. So thanks to everybody for coming in. Appreciate all you guys. Mickey, Stevie B, hi Stevie, Sweetly Morbid Bear, Gary Spice, Diane, Keith from Michigan, whole bunch of Danny Staten. What's up, brother? Hey, Moggs, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Mongolian Monster, go check him out on YouTube. Good show, great show. Roger Blair. Ashes. Of course, Mark, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Scotty, how you doing, Scott?
Oh, Scott's here. All right.
Michelle Wilfong. Hi, Michelle. I gave you a shout out a couple of days ago on somebody else's channel. I don't know why, but I did. I forget. I do so many shows now. But yeah, so thanks to everybody. BJ LaPierre, thanks for coming in. So a little bit of a variety today, I decided. I will tell you what, I'm on Tuesdays Tuesday night is at 9:00. It's always a guest-driven show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thursday used to be guest-driven, but guests are too hard to get on Thursday afternoon at 1:00. So it is what it is. And then Saturday, we're always on, me and you and Krista and Brandy, whenever we're all together, whenever someone's on vacation doing whatever. Friday's the only show that's hit or miss because I just don't do shows for the hell of doing shows. That's my story shows. If I don't have good stories, I just don't do it. So today's going to be kind of a variety. I found a couple articles on the web that I'm going to kind of read and we can kind of discuss and go over. They're kind of interesting. Okay. But I do, for the last portion of the show, got a really cool Dogman encounter from 200 miles north of me, which I found to be fascinating because I've been to this place many times throughout my life. So that's kind of how the show, that's what I got planned for today. So,
sounds good.
So thanks to everybody for coming in. And we'll, this first one that I'm going to do, let's see here. Where is it? Okay, this is one. I got a picture of this that I'll show, and I'm done kind of reading this. Again, I pulled this article. It's from Mysterious Magazine, so to give them the credit. And it starts out by saying, my name is Sally, and I live in Sweden. It was a Sunday, and my husband and I were out walking for a couple of hours in the beautiful sunshine. It felt like the first real spring day of the year, this past year, in Marsta, Sweden, a suburb just north of Stockholm. The area we live in is full of ancient structures, grave mounds from the Iron and Bronze Age, old Viking forts, ruined stones, and many other things. This day we decided to walk to what's left of the ancient fort, up on a hill deep in the forest behind Stenige Castle. My husband and I are photographers, and there's always time for a portrait, which I'm quite spoiled after 14 years together. After checking out an abandoned old house near the road, I asked my husband to pose in the middle of the road for a shot, which I did. Later, after uploading it on Twitter, X today, everybody, a follower asked me what was standing by the side of the road from this dude, right? And to my surprise, I found, in my opinion, she says, a troll-like creature merged with nature, almost transparent.
Okay.
It looks like it's studying my husband. Looking directly into the camera, I slightly turned to my direction. Yes, I am aware of pareidolia, and frankly, this very might could be. Is very similar, though, to the trolls of artist John Bauer. But also, it kind of looked like a hunching over Bigfoot. Maybe my eyes just want to see what they want to see. But even if it is a splendid case of pareidolia, it's also quite creepy and organic. No matter what it is, I find it to be quite magical. There's something with nature spirits to me that really drives me. At least I do want to believe. So that was the article in that magazine, and this is the picture that was posted on X. Give everybody can weigh in on this. Obviously, you, Monica.
Okay, I see it.
So you see it right there. So there's the dude on that trail. There's a beautifully lined trees there, eh? Yeah, and that thing on the right. Now, to me, when I first saw it, it just looks like a notch in that tree, right?
Right.
And as I pan down, it does appear to have 2 feet, and that's the only thing to me, Monica. If the feet weren't there, I would think that's nothing but a tree.
Well, I can see the silhouette of it.
Yes.
What she's thinking is the silhouette. And I see where she's coming from. I mean, it does look like a John Bauer troll. And for those of you who don't know who John Bauer is, when you think of like cartoon trolls, it's probably like a John Bauer looking with the big nose and the long straight hair. The image, though, that's interesting, but it could be, it could go either way. It could be pareidolia. If I were to put a paranormal spin on it, I would say troll for sure.
Okay.
It's like could be a forest spirit.
Okay, and I'll pull up the picture one more time for everybody. And again, I can see, you definitely make mention of the outline, right, in that tree.
Yeah.
And it does seem like at the top of what would be the head is a lot darker, right? Yeah. And I can see now, if I really study this, I can see maybe a big old troll nose.
Yeah.
I really don't see any arms. I see the body, which kind of blends in identical to the tree.
Kind of the silhouette. I mean, it looks to me, if I wish I had like the ability to like move a cursor where the audience could see. I can kind of see an arm. It looks like it's slightly stooped forward to me, just checking the image out. But Sweden is known for, like fairies, fae, trolls, things like that. So I would chalk it up to something in that area.
When we talk about trolls, I mean, is that part of the fae world? Or is that something totally different?
I think it is. I mean, traditionally, I'm trying to think, like when I hear fae and I hear people talk about fae, trolls usually aren't part of like the discussion.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess they could be. I mean, at the end of the day.
Well, at the end of the day, they could be.
End of the day, who knows? It's anything. Yes.
Anything could be anything. And my thing is, when I think trolls, well, I remember watching this movie called Troll, and I think trolls are probably not specified to like one thing. These trolls were trolls, and guess this was Sweden as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was a troll of the mountains, and these trolls lived many centuries ago, and they became part of the mountain, and they were cast in stone. And if you look hard
Yeah.
enough into the mountain, you can
see
kind
them.
of see the image of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's that's a lot of folklore up there, I think. There are mountains that are supposedly trolls, sleeping giants and trolls. I mean, I would imagine where you see a troll, fae probably are in the area.
Okay.
Although, again, like in all of my study and reading, I've never heard a troll associated with fae, so I'd say they were separate. But but that doesn't mean that they are, not inhabiting the same area.
Really quickly, thanks, Scott. Boy,
Yay.
18 months, a pirate. Scotty's not walking the plank. Thanks, Scott, for your contributions for 18 months. And I can't believe I've been doing memberships for that long. I just can't.
I think that's awesome.
I think it is awesome. And thank you. Thank you so much, Scott. Well, I got a text here, but it's not what I'm looking for. And I don't know why my phone is blowing up. But anyway, so thanks, Scotty. So, okay, when we all talk about Bigfoot, we talk Dogman, and now let's just talk about a troll for a little bit. Of course, we can debate, and we're not going to get into the debate of flesh and blood, supernatural with Bigfoot and Dogman, things like that. But where would you categorize a troll? Because I'm not all that versed. Is that something that is a flesh and blood creature, or something supernatural from what you can recollect?
No, flesh and blood.
Okay.
But they have, like the fae, they have abilities like to blend in, but flesh and blood by and large, I would say.
And not like a part of the elemental.
You're gonna see
like
one.
That.
Yeah, you're gonna see them. You're gonna smell them for sure.
What are these stories we hear about kind of all the time about trolls that live under staircases and bridges? Is that kind of where you might see a troll outside of the mountains or the forest?
Maybe. I'm not super well versed in trolls.
Yeah.
I don't know what I know that they love caves. They like, to hide in darkness. So thick forests, caves, under bridges, I guess that's where that comes from, because you'll typically find them in caves. But yeah, I don't know where. I mean, that would be my guess.
Yeah,
like they're hiding under the bridges because they like caves.
Yeah, I just threw that out there. I don't know. I mean, again, it's just food for thought. I hear about trolls under people's in haunted houses under staircases. I've heard those before. But then really when I saw that movie Troll, it was on Netflix,
Sure.
I said, wow, that was pretty creepy. And that, and the other.
Watch Troll Hunter. It's in Norwegian.
Troll Hunter.
You can find a dubbed version, power to you, but
yeah,
you'd probably have to read subtitles. But it's a great movie. It's Norwegian.
Okay.
And it's a really good, and they show all like different kind, like huge giant mountain trolls. They show cave trolls, forest trolls. They show like different kinds.
I often talk about these people that make these movies. I think that a lot of times they get it from folklore, and I think that sometimes some of these things maybe years ago did happen. And I remember kind of the narrative of this story is this troll that happened to emerge from this mountainside had been left dormant for many decades. Okay.
Sure.
And the reason that it actually was emerged from its dormant state was because they were doing they took some dynamite and they were blowing up grounds out at the mountain base to build something or whatever it was. I don't remember quite what they were building. And that kind of was the thing that triggered its coming out of its dormancy.
Sure. That makes sense. Well, you'll find, well, you're disturbing its natural habitat, right? I think when you disturb anything's like resting area or natural habitat, you're going to get an annoyed whatever coming on out. I mean, you hear a lot about it with hauntings, even when people are doing remodeling in an old home, there's a spike in paranormal activity within the house if it's got spirits.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of this story I did about this couple. They bought a house in New England. It was they got a great price on it, very dilapidated, this, that, and the other. And there was rumors, never proven, but rumors that a man that lived there like 50 years prior, let's just say, he went on and unalived his family.
Ah.
Yeah, and so the house, they could not sell the house for several years. Then another family moved in, and the family moved in. They started again doing some remodeling, this, that, and the other. And then this family, for whatever the reason, just left, they just left, kind of like the Amityville Horror type narrative, right? Where they just fled the house, left everything behind, and they owned the house. And then the house, they stopped making payments on the house. It went into foreclosure, and it was owned by the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And so this other couple, now this is back in like the early 2000s, bought the house, and they got it so dirt cheap, Monica, that they spent like tons of money just to make this thing brand new. They knew about the alleged occurrences prior, and they were in the house. And then all of a sudden, after a couple weeks into whatever work was being done, at nighttime, they would hear walking in the attic, which was also being remodeled. And so the man woke up in the middle of the night because I guess the contractors had free roam of the house, and they would come when they could fit it into their schedule. So they would come during the day, during the evening, in the morning, but never like at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, these guys are not here.
I don't know any contractors that are working.
No, they're not. And no, I mean, any other times I get it up to maybe 10 at night. They're usually out of your house by 10 at night, in most cases, right?
They're usually out of the job site by 4 in the afternoon.
Well, in today's world, yes, yeah, they're clock watchers, but yeah, this weird walking and bristling about in the attic or in the upper level of this house. And so the guy was shouting out, John, or whatever the contractor's name, or whatever the leader of the firm was, are you here? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing up there? And he hears this walking, though, he was saying, right? And then the walking, it kind of stopped, and he heard nothing. So he continued up, I guess, the eave or the ladder that led up there, because it wasn't fully redone yet. No staircase, like a ladder that was made by the contractors to get to and fro. And went up there, and he noticed that on the ground up in there, because the men were doing work up there. They were working all over this place.
Right.
And then he noticed, and then he had brought a flashlight up. It was dark. Again, it's 3 a.m. And he was shining it on the floor, and he noticed all the sawdust, which he didn't think was a big deal because, again, they were working up there. And then he saw all these footprints. Now, the footprints, he says, were not of men in working boots. They were barefoot prints, and there was a bunch of different sizes, like an adult foot, children's foot, tiny feet, all around. And he thought that was odd.
Sure.
And then when the contractor come back, he obviously said, hey, I know you weren't here, but this is strange. I got to show you something up in the attic or in the top level of the house, whatever it was. The contractor goes, yeah, sure, whatever. They go upstairs. You know what the funny thing was? Which even the contractor was kind of taken aback because, as I mentioned, all the sawdust and the prints. Well, first of all, there were no prints there. But you know what the odd thing was about this house? And the contractor says, we didn't clean up here. We don't clean up until, we come back the next morning. Sawdust was all gone. And the entire floor was glistening clean.
Wow.
Which is pretty...
That's really bizarre. Where did it go? Where did it go?
Where did the dust go?
Not just who cleaned it up, but where did it go?
Where did the sawdust go?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Pretty weird. If you're new, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michiganrob. Hi, Wedge. And this looks like a new person. You're scared, Jody. Hi, you're scared, Jody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody. Thanks for coming on in. Hey, Brent, what's up? Paranormal Portal. If you're not doing Brent, you can always pop in. We're just doing some spooky stuff today. I got a couple stories, but or chill out in the chat room. I didn't call you today because I've been busy all day, Brent. Brent Thomas, Paranormal Portal, in the house.
Awesome guy.
Great guy. He's going to be at the conference as well. So yeah.
Come hang out with us. We're the cool kids.
Yeah, we are the cool kids. This is it's cool time here. So that was that. That was that story I talked about, the troll, that picture, very creepy. And then we, of course, went off course as we always do about that story about what I just said. This other one, though, I want to share with everybody because living in the Great Lakes, and I don't do this too often. In fact, I have so many different projects for shows. I'm starting to get into the lighthouses, all the mysteries of the lighthouses and monsters of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And this I didn't plan on doing yet because that's going to be something that's in the works. But I did find an article that I thought was pretty cool to share with everybody. So I'm going to get into that.
Share it with the class, Robbie.
Share it with the class. That's right. I will show the picture. Now, check this out. This is in Lake Huron. This is a lighthouse sitting out in the middle of the lake. Okay, whatever.
That's fun. All right.
Looks kind of weird, creepy, like dilapidated looking,
It's a medieval prison.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, there. So that's the picture. Yeah, medieval prison. I like that. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is another article from that same thing I was talking about. I just gotta. Oh, never mind. That's not it. I got it here. Okay, it's here. Now I'm really gonna glow in the dark. This is written by Mysterious Michigan. Ghosts and lighthouses are synonymous with each other, and Michigan has the most lighthouses of any state in the United States, obviously. At one point in Michigan history, there were over 200 working lighthouses on our lakes. Humans might not have a hand in guiding the ships along the lakes nowadays, but the ghosts and past lighthouse keepers are still doing their jobs, even if they are dead, unalived.
That really stinks. Can you imagine being dead and still having to go to work?
No kidding, man. Let me rest. Let me rest, for Lord's sakes. And so on and so forth. So this is about the Waugochance Lighthouse. It's one of the oldest lights or lighthouses on the Great Lakes. And according to maritime historian Wes Olowski, the Waugochance ghost story is always the first told by lighthouse enthusiasts and historians. Waugochance is located on I was wrong, not Lake Huron, everybody. It's located on the northeast end of Lake Michigan and was built in 1832 as a lightship. I don't know what that is, a lightship. Anyways.
I have to look that up.
Yeah. It became an actual lighthouse. Okay. Indeed, 19 years later in 1851, John Herman, a drinker and a funny man, was a lightkeeper at Waugochance. He began his career as an assistant lightkeeper in 1887 and in 1892. And then in 1892 became the man in charge. Anyways. Yeah. Right. Can't read. Drunk one night and looking to play a practical joke on a coworker, John locked. Now, this is not a good practical joke. Jock locked one of his assistants in the lamp room. Happy with his prank, he wandered away from the lighthouse, and in his drunken stupor, he vanished into the night, never to be seen again. Once the assistant locked away, can't get out, manages to get out. He looked everywhere, but he never found John. After his disappearance, strange things started to happen around the lighthouse. If any of the lightkeepers fell asleep on the job, their chair was kicked out from beneath them. Everyday chores, such as coal buckets being filled, would also mysteriously happen on its own. Because the haunted happenings were so frequent, they eventually had a hard time staffing the lighthouse. So they built another lighthouse at White Shoals and left Wagachans to be the ghost, and left Wagachans to the ghost who haunted it. Or so the story says. And then it goes on here to say about exposing the facts. Is this actually real? So on and so forth. So he says, as for building another lighthouse to avoid the ghost, lighthouse was in fact outdated and a new one was badly needed. There doesn't seem to be any historical evidence of John's death at the lighthouse. The only keeper ever to drown at the lighthouse was Thomas Marshall, May 28th of 1886. The ghost story about John supposedly came from a newspaper article published in a Petoskey newspaper sometimes in the 1930s.
Okay.
So that was the story out of that, Monica. And I don't know. I mean, take it for what it is. That was in a mysterious Michigan magazine. I will say this, whether that story happened or not, I do believe that these shorelines that surround the entire state of Michigan, there's a lot of hauntings. And this might not be any exception.
Sure. I mean, you've got the mysteriously disappeared lighthouse keeper and the annoyed assistant that got locked in the light room. I think he got out, and that's why the light keeper disappeared. Probably didn't appreciate that joke.
Can you imagine? Hey, listen, we all like practical jokes. I'm not performing that one.
Imagine having a drunk boss that likes to lock you in places as a joke.
Yes, Bigfoot dwarf. Love the bandana, BMR. This is courtesy. This bandana is courtesy of Bigfoot dwarf. One of his friends made it for me. It's hand stitched. Thank you so much for this. And again, every year, Brown, I need Christmas ones, man. So I'm not letting you off the hook yet. So you got to get back to the drawing board. I'm just kidding,
I'm
though, brother.
Get you a bandana with your face just blown up on it. Just face of BMR.
You know what? People want to buy those bandanas, and I'm having a hard time getting personalized BMR bandanas. It's going to cost me to do it how I want it with all my logos on it, like $20 a piece.
Ooh.
No one's going to buy a damn bandana. I'm not going to. I mean, I wanted to sell them for $10, let alone. Sure. I'm going to spend $2 to sell them for $10. That's another story. Now it's a pet peeve. I don't want to get into that, but yeah. So, am I freezing up?
Your initial setup fee should be a lot, but I mean, once you've got a setup for a particular pattern or image or whatever, it shouldn't cost that much. Throughout, you should be able to order as many as you want.
You would think so. I mean, we'll see. Again, it's been another thing I've been working on. Is I'm getting rid of the vendor I use for my other stuff. Is just kind of trying to work on all this in time for the conference, which don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, I've always worked on that.
That's only a few months away.
I know, man. We got a month. It's the 19th and 20th, and I'm staring down at my computer. Today's the 24th.
It's less than 2 months away.
Less than 2 months. Everybody, I did post the Eventbrite link in this chat. It's pinned. If you're not yet, if you didn't get tickets yet, that's the link to go on. And if it's not a link posted by myself, Monica, the Blondes and the Booze, Tex, any of our misfits, don't click.
If you don't see us on a show, don't click the link from that person.
Yes, some people have been duped.
They have. They have.
Uh,
I will say Gary Spikes. If Gary posts a link,
Gary Spikes as well.
if
Yes.
Pops posts a link, it's good.
Pops.
But generally speaking, on our Facebook pages, if it's not somebody you're familiar with.
And Brent, I got to talk with Brent. He's got a good idea. Just do the one logo on the half fold and just then make it black. Yes, I thought about that as well. It's an ongoing process, Brent. It really is. So, but anyways, because I can buy 20 bandanas for $15 on Amazon. I mean, come on,
sure. I mean, I can like freehand your face on some of them.
Oh, I'm sure you'd like to do that. Yeah.
Special editions.
Yes, I'm trying to. I have a rendition. I'm not getting into all that, but special editions. Maybe for the Christmas.
I think while we're at the conference, you should have us all sign some bandanas, and then you can give them away as gifts on your show at Christmas.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Monica is my vice president of marketing. Y'all know she did a fantastic job marketing my books last year.
Yeah.
We won't get
Everybody
into
wants
that.
BMR's package in the mail. You want it. You know you want it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. Thank you for that one. I tell you what, sales spiked about 11%.
Did they really?
They did. Yeah. So thank you for that. So we're gonna move on here. Thanks for everybody for coming on in. So like I said, I got a cool this is kind of new. It's a Bigfoot, not Bigfoot, Dogman account that a guy sent in to me. And it's from Houghton Lake, Michigan. And not to be confused, not that you would be if you don't live in Michigan, there's also Houghton County, which is way up in the Upper Peninsula. So these are different. In fact, if you go on to the state of Michigan, and if you go right in the middle of Michigan, you'll see Houghton Lake and you'll see Higgins Lake. They're very descriptive, and they're rather sizable. In fact, I'll give you a little idea before I start out with this guy's encounter. Houghton Lake, where this took place at Houghton Lake State Forest. And I've been to Houghton Lake many, many times. It's tip-up town. You take snowmobiles, and there's all these bars and restaurants deep into the woods that you can only get to via snowmobile. It's very cool in the winter, and it's a very big fishing area in the summer. So it's very nice, but it's very expansive. In fact, it's so expansive that it covers 244,000 acres. Okay, so that's pretty sizable, and the lake itself is big as well, and so all this acreage and woodlands surrounds it. It actually makes it Michigan's largest inland lake in Roscommon County, and there's also the watershed flows through Muskegon in Michigan, Newaygo in Michigan, Big Rapids, Everett, and of course Houghton Lake. It's called Houghton Lake, everybody. If you're not from Michigan, they always say Houghton Lake. It's Houghton. This little tidbit. So anyway, it's kind of big. Gives you an idea. Of all these tributaries flow into Houghton Lake and in all this expansive woodland. So this guy calls himself Brad. Now, Brad lives in Houghton Lake mainly in the spring and summer. And he lives in a converted trailer at Houghton Lake that he built into a more mobile home unit. And this is actually not uncommon. In fact, there's a lot of trailers that have been converted around the lake, as well as a lot of very nice homes that have been built from scratch and so on. So there's a nice variety. I mean, there might be $1 million home here, and there might be a $20,000 trailer that they dumped, $100,000 in to make it bigger. So it's very up and down with the property values. So Brad goes on to tell me that what happened to him was back in the summer of 2023. He bought his trailer mobile home in the fall of 2020. So this guy he's only been there a few years, so on and so forth. And Brad tells me, Rob, I want to make it clear that what he had heard of the legend of Bigfoot, he had heard the legend of Bigfoot, but he never really paid a lot of attention to it. Then he goes on to tell me, as far as Dogman is concerned, he never heard of it. Okay. He says that he is a skeptic. He also goes on to tell me that when it comes to all things strange, he does not believe. He does not believe in UFOs. He does not believe in aliens. He does not believe in ghosts. He also, and this guy, so he believes in nothing in this field, this paranormal that we're talking about. He also goes on to tell me he does not hunt. He doesn't fish. He likes to hike. That's really about it. He likes hiking in the trails around his new property. And I'm thinking to myself, for a guy that doesn't like to hunt or fish, I mean, what are you doing living in the middle of the forest on a lake? I mean, that's not, okay, fine. I mean, I guess, because I can live on a lake and not hunt or fish either, but to each his own. So he goes on to tell me that in the early part of June in 2023, he settles in, and he started to hear some walking. And he said he started hearing walking, and he thought it was just some people that was walking around. It was outside of his home. He told me that this was very strange because, and a little bit nerve-wracking, because the area where he has his property, it's extremely dark at night. Now, this was at night, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's nighttime. He says, yeah, it's very dark around this place at night. There are no lamps. There's no light poles. There's nothing. He says the neighbors are sparse and spread out in the homes in the area. He goes on to say that his neighbor is probably a good 1,000 feet or so in between the houses and the trailers. And he says that many parts of Houghton Lake are extremely isolated. And I believe that because I've been there. I've been here several times. It's throughout the woods on the big lake. So he's like, hang on. Brad says that the only light that he does have is a small porch light. And I believe it's on the front and his back porches. And he described the layout of his trailer being included an addition, a nice sized addition that was 1,000 foot long on the back end of his trailer. So pretty nice. And he had 2 small back porches on either side of the north and south end of the trailer. So, and again, it's nighttime. He's got this long deck out on the outside of his house. And he does mention, too, that he, like a dummy, he says, on the back wall where he has his long 1,000-foot deck, no windows, Monica. No windows. I'm like, dude.
What?
Yeah, no windows. There's a door. Now, there's windows on the other side. But on this, he has it. It's just like a wall. It's a wall, and he didn't think to make an opening. I mean, to me, that's
let some light in,
yeah,
or
yeah.
Okay, it's
odd.
Is it a regular door? Is it a sliding door?
I don't remember that far back, but he had a door at the end. He just said door.
Okay.
So that's not how I would. That's not what I would do. I know that's not what you would do. I think people listening to this, I don't think they would do it either. No, I don't think there's a house I've seen in my life, even regular trailers, all have windows all around all the sides of the house. But anyway, that's what he tells me. Can't see. That side, boom. Okay. So we'll just move on. Again, he says at night, he is surrounded in total darkness. The only light that he would get is if it's a clear sky and if the moon was out, fully illuminating his area. So he says, going back to the strange walking outside the house, again, he says it's very odd. He says he waits about 5 minutes, then he takes a flashlight and he goes outside. He says as soon as he gets outside, the walking stops. Which he said, oddly enough, as soon as he went outside, he didn't hear the footfall. It just stopped. So he goes on to tell me that he yelled out, "Who's there?" This, that, and the other. No answer. So he takes the flashlight and he kind of shines it all about his property. He sees nothing. He waits about several more minutes. He goes back into his house. For the rest of the night, he says he can't sleep. He intently stays up listening for the returning of this footfall, which he thinks again are human beings. Nothing else. Again, does not believe in it.
Well, I mean, rational people that don't believe in like what we believe in would think, well, there's an intruder. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the guy is thinking. And and again, that's where I'm going with this. And yes, absolutely. I would too. I would right now. I believe in this stuff, but the first thing I'm going to think about, if I hear someone walking outside my house, I'm not thinking Bigfoot. I'm thinking a person, an intruder.
Right.
Just like the old man in my neighborhood who has dementia, walks around the neighborhood. And you know that guy. I told you that story.
Yeah.
So, and that does happen. Another reason why I have to lock my doors. Anyways, moving on. So he says the next morning when he wakes up, he was still really wondering about the walking, right? So he went to one of his neighbor's homes up the road, the one that I think is 1,000 feet up the road, and he casually asked his neighbor. His neighbor's name is Sam, and he says, "Hey, did he hear anybody out last night in the area?" Sam told him that he didn't hear anything. Sam even made mention that it would be strange considering how dark it is in their neighborhood at night because nobody's got lights on the outside of their houses, apparently. And again, I've been here before, and that's somewhat true, somewhat accurate. So the two of these guys, they talk a little bit longer, and Brad went on about his day.
Mm-hmm.
So he says the next night, Rob, he says around midnight, he hears the footfall again, like a person walking again. This time, however, he says the footsteps are they're more pronounced and they're heavier. And Brad says he can hear limbs and twigs crackling in the night. Then all of a sudden it stopped, kind of like the night before. A minute or so went by, and now the walking starts up again. However, he says this time it was on the outside of his long deck on the side of the mobile home, which Monica has what there? Nothing. No windows. Okay.
That's so weird.
Yeah. He says it was a heavy thud. Brad says, man, he's scared. And again, as he makes mention again, no windows, no access from the side of the deck. Yeah, this kind of dumb, he says to me eventually in the email. What was I thinking? I said, I don't know, whatever. So he says he yells from inside his house.
Sure.
Who's there, right? Absolutely. There's no answer. But he says the footfall on the deck, it did stop as soon as he said who's there. So Brad knows that he wants to go out and protect his property or see what's going on, who's lurking around. So he goes out the side door of his house, and he's armed with a shotgun. He yells out again, "Whoever you are, I am armed." Now he goes around and goes to his side deck where he heard the footfall. Obviously can't see, once again, not to reiterate, no windows. But and he says, "Rob, it's pitch black. It's extremely dark. Got my shotgun. I'm still trembling because it's somebody screwing around with him." Then he says, this guy's really not put together very good, Monica, because he didn't even bring a flashlight, he says.
Shotgun, no flashlight. Weird noises.
Yeah,
in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's dark. Okay.
Yeah, and we're talking about a guy who doesn't hunt, doesn't fish, is not fond of the water, yet he lives on Houghton Lake.
Maybe he just thinks it's pretty.
Maybe he does, Monica. Maybe
he likes the solitude and he wants to know who's disturbing
I
him.
guess so. I mean, I'm kind of making fun of this guy. So maybe you might be right.
Why would you investigate an intruder around your house that it's dark outside, no lights.
Yeah,
without a flashlight or a headlamp.
Yeah. Yes, headlamp even. Yes, we all have a headlamp, or do we? You don't.
If I lived in the middle of nowhere, I'd have all kinds of stuff.
So, right. So, oh boy. Okay. So, anyways, thinking back. Okay. So now this guy's out there again. This dummy with a shotgun. He goes on to tell me that he saw what he saw in the darkness, being in the darkness again, Monica. He describes a big dark mass standing very tall.
Mm-hmm.
He says he can see a head on top of broad shoulders in an outline of the image. He says it's massive. He goes, it appeared that whatever this was had extremely, you can see on the side very vividly in the cast in a shadow, like ears that were kind of pointed. He goes on to tell me. And, but he says that's all he could make out really about it. Until he says this creature, well, he says creature, I think he says this thing, whatever this shadow object is. And I kind of really quickly do want to say this because everyone knows, and I've told you this many times, I've seen shadow people in my house and they are very vivid. And what he's describing, certainly not what I saw, but I saw the portrait of a head and shoulders and things like that. But anyways, so he says this thing jumps off his deck and it runs directly towards Brad. So I guess now this Brad, I think he fails to mention, or maybe I failed to mention. So Brad was walking around the outside of the deck, looking on the deck when he sees this shadowy figure on the deck, and now it jumps off and it's approaching this Brad guy. And he says that this thing ran like lightning, or it floated, it glided like lightning. And it gets within inches of this guy, he says. And he says, Brad says that he falls down. And then he gets up and looks around and sees this shadowy image running towards the tree line. Mm-hmm. And then this is another thing, this guy's not too swift, Monica. Guess what he does?
Chases it?
Not quite.
I think that's stupid.
Well, that would be stupid to chase it down with first of all, no flashlight. A shotgun. No,
shotgun and a prayer.
Shotgun. No, what he does was he takes his shotgun, Monica, and fires it.
Oh.
Now that's even more stupid, ain't it?
That is equally stupid.
That is, he fires his shotgun into darkness in a wood line. I don't. Is there a neighbor? No, you don't know if it's a person. You don't know. I don't know, Monica, if there's a neighbor without,
somebody's like pulling a prank on you. I mean, granted, that is stupid,
Yeah.
Because he's on his property, he has every right to shoot, if he wants.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's still stupid. I mean,
yeah.
I had something bluff charge me, right? Yeah. In the dark. And well, I had a headlamp on, but generally in the dark, and I wouldn't fire until it cleared the tree line. Like I was ready.
Yeah.
But you don't just fire into the dark.
No, come on. So he does go on to tell me, which I'm kind of, still thinking he's an ass. He does go on to tell me that this side of the home where he fired at the tree line, he says, Rob, there are not any other homes in that area.
So? And
I still am like, well, I'm still questioning. So you don't know what you were shooting at. It could have been a person.
Yeah. If you want to fire a warning shot, I think Sweetly Morbid Bear had a good point in chat. Just shoot at like towards the lake, up towards the lake.
Point in the air. Yeah, you know what? Shoot it into the
usually
ground.
racking it will do it. I had somebody cut across my property when I lived in East Texas, just out of the light in the tree line. and I heard shh, 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 where somebody was walking through the leaves, and it freaked me out, and they wouldn't answer me. But I'll tell you, they answered me once I racked my shotgun.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. And I'm not reading the comments because I can't see them right now, but well, I can see them. But yeah, thanks to everybody. Yeah, so, but even or fired into the ground or whatever. But anyways, this guy shoots into the tree line, and he says when he fires his shotgun, he says, "Rob, I heard an enormous, a very guttural howl in the distance and inside of the tree line." I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't a human, maybe it was something, right? As according to what he's telling me. And he says it almost immediately, sprinting over on the other side of the house, which I guess said it was his neighbor Sam, who's about 1,000 feet away or whatever. He comes running over because he heard the blast of the shotgun. So Sam asked Brad, what's going on? What happened? Brad goes on to tell him about this entire incident, this ordeal. And that's the guy that he spoke with, as you all remember from earlier, the previous day. So then a few minutes later, Monica, a few more neighbors, they start convening and coming down to Brad's place. Now, as I made mention earlier, I mean, these people live, quite a little bit of a distance away. 1,000 feet is Sam and the other neighbors, wherever they're situated, I really don't know. But they all start convening at Brad's trailer. So reluctantly, he felt kind of strange telling people what he had done because he's kind of, I think, realizing that what he did wasn't quite right. And he really didn't want to make mention that he thought that the thing on his deck kind of resembled a shadowy, like wolf-like figure standing there, right? That brushed by him or whatever when he fell down. So he kind of omitted that a little bit. So Brad goes on to tell several of his neighbors, though Brad is speaking with his neighbors, several of his neighbors had gone on to tell them that they'd had similar experiences in the past several months. And then check this out, Monica. The neighbor Sam, who said he didn't hear anything the night before, said he's had a similar instance, which I find that to be kind of perplexing because why is this being brought up now when this man, Brad, talks to Sam earlier and he blew it off like, I don't know what you're talking about type of thing. So anyways, again, furthering on in this story, many of the residents, I guess, throughout the years at Houghton Lake, and I did go look some of this stuff up, and some of it kind of meshes a little bit. Some of the residents reported to the DNR and local authorities about like wolves in the area. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There are no wolves on Houghton Lake. There are none. I mean, according to reports, there are none, and that's just reports. And in fact, Monica, right in my state, you have to travel another couple hundred miles to the northwest to find wolves. And I will say this, yes, they can migrate south. I get it, but none have been reported. So just throwing that out there. So a lot of residents have reported similar eerie accounts in this area at Houghton Lake, right? So, but they always, of course, admitted anything that stood upright, because you know how people do. So Brad tells me that ever since that night, he always stays on guard. He has since gotten, Monica, what do you think this guy since has gotten? He's gotten floodlights.
Wow.
On the outside of his place. Where if something walks by, they turn on. He's got the sensors.
Well, I don't know if I'd want windows in the back wall at that point. Like, do I want to see that?
No, yeah, now, but he didn't. This is all prior, right? So now he's got floodlights installed, this, that, and the other. So he also goes on to say that since this happened to him, he's formed a bond with quite a few of the residents in the area.
Yeah, Fear will do that.
Yeah, they do that. And in fact, he says they do keep it quiet. He says that since he's gotten the better lighting around his property, this prowling about whatever it is, or whether it's humans or a dog man, werewolf, whatever, it's stopped. He says sometimes in the distance, though, he does hear an ominous howl, thinking that maybe he did see something and it's kind of reminding him that I'm here, but you got smart and got, floodlights, or whatever. Who knows? I'm just reading into it, right? So anyway, this small group of people are relieved that that this man came forward, and they're also relieved though that there's been no attacks.
Sure.
There's been no incidents of breaking into a home or anything, whether it's a stranger or something else, right? So so that's really about it, and that's the story. And I thought it was odd. I don't know what this was, Monica. I mean, it could be anything. I don't know that. Again, this is in Roscommon County, and I looked this up, and there's no reports that I'm aware of even of Dogman. There's some Bigfoot. So I thought it was an interesting tale, interesting story.
It's interesting.
Some people have seen it. Some people have heard the howls. There's no wolves, so I don't know. So yeah, he sent me that in, so I decided to share it in today's show. And if anything else is interesting, and if anything else, there's all sorts of weird things that go on. If you want to break it down a little bit, my thing is seeing this tall, shadowy figure on his deck. Says it had pointed ears, brushed by him. Doesn't say, though, that I recall if it physically touched him to make him fall. But he's scared enough to stupidly fire a shot. Here's a wolf. Neighbors come around, and they finally say that, hey, we've heard and had similar things happen to us. So maybe there is something going on.
Well, I'd say that there's definitely something going on, especially if the neighbors are corroborating. Now, whether or not it's some dingus with a, something going on, like trying to throw people off, like if it was a person or an actual dog man, I don't know, light would have been good to help identify that. But
light would have been good.
Some kind of light, but whatever. I mean, shadows in the dark.
Yeah, you don't know what shadows. Yeah, what are they? We all see shadow.
I mean, I'm annoyed he already didn't have any kind of like outdoor exterior illumination. I'm annoyed he shot at something he couldn't identify. Like you're freaking annoying, dude.
This guy is annoying. I mean, as I'm telling this story to y'all, I was like, this guy really, he started to get me mad. I'm like, this guy's a dunce. I mean, what an idiot.
Don't make me root for the dog man,
I wish the dog man would have taken him out. Hey, Larry, thanks,
sometimes
Larry.
you gotta gotta shallow the pool a little bit just to keep the IQ up.
Yeah. Well, from the onset of this story, and you made some good points. I get it. Houghton Lake, big lake, beautiful. I tell you what, Houghton Lake, though, Monica, is a nice place. It's great. I've been there several times in the winter. I'm not a winter guy. I'm not a snowmobiler, but it is fun to take the snowmobiles out to these little restaurants and bars. But it's also, I've been fishing there several times, and I do love the water. I'm a lake guy. Always been a lake guy. Always had friends with boats because I would just provide the drink because it's too much money to own a boat. The maintenance alone is like through the roof.
Oh yeah. And you tell my husband that because he was looking at like boats, and I was, why?
Yeah, I mean, well, I tell you what, I was on a boat almost every weekend in my early 20s to up into my 30s, really. But that even then, that even got expensive. I don't care. It's just, and it's a lot of work, a lot of time. And now with the laws, I never even. Yeah, I rode
jet skis.
I don't do the jet ski. I just sit on the Sea-Doo and go around.
Yeah.
Do you go on the stand-up jet ski?
Chris wants a stand-up one really bad, like really bad.
Really? Okay.
And I'm indifferent. I like sit down, stand up, doesn't matter to me.
I like to sit down because I can do more exploring. Thanks,
Yeah.
Diane. She's been a member for 18 months.
Thanks,
Arr,
Diane.
Diane. Thank you,
She's
Diane.
so sweet. She always sends me messages with
She
links
does.
to
Diane is one of
stories
her. I love Diane. She always sends messages, and she's great. Larry is a 4-month member. And then we've also
go,
got,
Larry.
and Scott is the 18 months. And of course, thanks to
Scott's
Mark for the
awesome.
$2. But yeah, getting back to what we were talking about, I like the Sea-Doos. I did own one for several years. I like to sit on, because when I go take them out, we do go on the Detroit River and the lakes. So I like sitting on it because I dare not want to fall off it with the currents. Little danger, you know.
Yeah.
Because me on a jet ski, I will fall off eventually. You know, I'll hit the wake and I'll try to do a fly through the air type thing. You know how that goes.
Try to do a trick, like a mountain bike trick.
Yeah, you won't see me standing on one now, you know. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the sit down kind would be better. Yeah,
now,
I feel like I have more control over those.
You do. I mean, you can't wipe out on that. You got to be.
Oh, I've turned over in those. One time, oh my gosh, scared the heck out of me. I got turned, like I flipped, like the whole thing flipped. And as it was flipping over, I was trying to get off of it. The handlebars went through my life vest.
Ooh.
And took me under with it.
Oh no.
That was scary.
I will tell you what, with all the things, I've been on a lot of vessels or boats. Two scary things happened me. One, I'm not gonna get into the whole story. I was with my friends. He had a 32-foot boat, 32-footer, and we took it to Cedar Point on Lake Erie. And on our way home, we got caught in this storm, and let me tell you, the waves were, if they weren't 8-10 feet tall, they weren't 2 foot tall, right?
Ooh.
And we're at the top of the helm area, and all the girls and kids, we brought the kids, of course, and all that stuff, and they were down below, you know. But there's no seat belts in a boat, you know that. They're just you walk around. Yeah. And Gary Splake, 17 months. Well, I got a lot of senior people here. Thank you, Gary. 17 months. Wow, thanks, Pops. So me, my friend Rick, and my brother was with me, and we're at the top of this boat, 32-footer. Thank you, Larry. 5 new pirates, mateys. Awesome. Thanks, Larry. Thank you so much, Larry. So yeah, we're at the top, taking on these waves, Monica, and we're going right on them, because one thing in Nautica 101, don't take your craft sideways, because you will. Yeah. I mean, that's very basic common sense.
That's very basic.
I think, although I think this guy Brad with the werewolf, with the light, he probably would have went sideways. Yeah. So we take it on head on. And let me tell you, we did. Obviously, I'm here today to tell a story, but I just remember, and it was dark too. The sky was.
I guess, yeah.
And all I remember, and we're hanging on to like the bars we had in front of us, and I'm planting my feet wherever, just hard into the ground. I remember, here's the boat, right? I'm looking straight up at the sky.
Oh,
we are up in the boat. Yeah. Another 2 feet, we would tumble back over.
Yeah.
All the kids, all the girls below, all the pots, the pans, the glassware, everybody that was like here are now literally got hurt, and they fell to the back end of the boat. Thank you, Keith from Michigan.
Thanks, Keith.
The Thursday night recovery fund. Yes, indeed. Thursday, we're doing a party at the Haunted Ranch.
Party.
For all ticket holders, you're more than welcome to join us. Yeah, thanks, Keith. Thanks to everybody. So that was quite a scare.
Terrifying. Yeah.
That was quite the scare. That's the scariest thing I ever was involved with on a boat. outside of my time loss incident. It wasn't scary. It was just bizarre. And I'm not going to tell that, but that was bizarre as well. That was on Lake Erie as well, too. But yeah, I tell you, the Great Lakes, enjoyable, pretty, beautiful, whatever you want to call it. Dangerous, too, if you don't know what you're doing out there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, watch that weather forecast.
You should. Those Great Lakes will take you down. A lot of ships at the bottom.
There are. And that's what we'll be doing, too, moving forward with this channel, with us, all of us and stuff. I really want to get into these maritime disasters or ghost stories around Michigan and lighthouses and things.
Right.
There's a lot of fabulous. There's a lot of stuff. You guys have any haunted lakes in Texas? We have a few more minutes to that. Anything crazy in Texas?
Well, I mean, like a lot of lakes have that lady in white, that stalks the shoreline. She was in an accident or something happened and she's haunting. I mean, White Rock Lake has that. There's one out kind of southwest. I can't remember. I know there's a story on another lake that I can't remember which lake it was. There's a ton of lakes. But the one near where I live would be White Rock for sure. The Lady of the Lake.
Lady of the Lake.
I think that's pretty, common though. That ghost story is pretty common around the U.S. Just like the ghostly hitchhiker. I drove to her house and, she left something in the car and I went to go return it to the house I dropped her off at and they said she died 20 years ago. Or, you pick up the hitchhiker and you go 20 miles or 10 miles down the road and they're not there anymore. That kind of thing. It's just a common story from around the U.S.
Okay. Yeah, because we get all sorts of them, and that's pretty common. Lady in the Lake, I've heard that too, not just like in Texas either, right? Like as you were just alluding to, it's kind of like a commonality, right?
Yeah,
as you just mentioned.
It's just a lot of people. I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, restless spirits. I don't doubt that each place that claims to have that has that. It's just a common theme. Like you see it in every state has at least one of each of those. At least one.
That they do, Monica. That they do. And I think my guys texted me, which is fine. I'll let them sit for a minute because we're going to wrap it up in a minute. Your channel, of course, Our Paranormal World. That's on Thursday nights. Well, today's Thursday. Are you on tonight, or you guys?
I am on tonight.
You're on, yay!
Woohoo! I'm doing a show. Yeah.
You and Breezy.
My co-host is back. I've got a new co-host here, Mr. Disco Ghost.
Very nice. Yeah, people don't like when I come on your show. I don't know why.
I don't care if they like it or
not.
I know. They can not like it and be quiet about it.
I know.
But the guest tonight is Ullerson, who's the owner of Dogman Ranch. He's coming back on to tell us some stuff about Dogman
Ranch tonight on Monica's channel.
Yeah.
I see Mongolian Monster out there. Check out Moggs' channel. He's cool. I met Moggs a couple years ago in Alabama. Hopefully you guys can see you in Missouri, Moggs. I don't know. We haven't heard that much from you on that, but it is what it is. I get it. You and Stevie B. So, yes, please subscribe to Monica, Brandy, and Krista, and the Blondes and Booze. Text myself, Donnie, Paranormal Paul. You know where to find us. Turn on your alert bells. Thanks to everybody really quickly once again. This is kind of a pretty cool night or day. See, we do them day and night in between time. I don't know.
All the time.
Mark Z Hammer, thank you. Rest to Rip Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, Ozzy. I played an Ozzy song on Tuesday. Yeah, I got a copyright thing on it.
I bet you did.
It was from, hey, listen, it was from actually his management company was all over that. I mean, it was Ozzy's management company struck me. Yeah. But hey, it was worth it. I played the song. Oh, well. Mark Ziammer, Scott, 18-month member. Larry, 4-month pirates. Diane, 18-month pirate. Gary Pop Spikes, the 17-month. And Larry gifted 5 memberships. Pirates are, thanks to Keith for your contributions today, as always. Yeah, so looking forward. It was a great show as always, Monica. You know, we always come up with something cool, something fascinating. And
It's always fun.
you won't be with me Saturday night. Next time
No.
I'm on, personally, I'll be 11 o'clock every night with the girls, minus Monica this week. And I think minus Krista too. I think it might just be me and Brandy this weekend, which is fine. As long as I have one, we make a show.
Yep.
And yeah, I'll be looking forward. Tune in to Monica, Dogman Ranch with Olfson. Olfson? Is that his name? Olfson? Ulerson. I'm sorry. Very good. Okay, thanks everybody. Monica, thank you. I'm just going to surf, do a little surfing here to find something. I found it.
Yeah, why would you like, yeah.
Yeah, why would I have it ready to roll? Right, I don't know. Thanks, Monica. Thanks everybody. See you later. Like the show on the way out.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Thank you. Very good. Very good.
Very good. So good. So good.
Yes. You're in deep thought.
I'm just not looking forward to having to drive into Dallas for a client.
When's that? Today? Later
Right
on?
now.
Oh, no. Sorry to hear that.
I have to go turn in some health applications for him because he's in LA and he wants it physically turned in instead of just doing it online like they're telling me. I'll be super pissed if I show up and they're like, we only accept online applications.
Oh, you just got that toward the end of the show when you're on the phone?
No, I had it before. I knew I was going to have to do after the show.
No, that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, that sucks.
To drive an hour to stand in a city.
Oh, yeah. No way. No fucking way. Nope. Oh, my God. Now that you told me that, no, not at all. Only to be turned away, perhaps, which I
probably hope. Yeah, they're going to be like, I'm sorry, we only accept on, in which case I will come back here.
I didn't know.
And somebody said their